Locked. 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 A handcar wheelbase. Interesting. It appears that elements of the same construction were scattered everywhere. Watson, please tell me, do you believe in magic?
Of course not, Holmes.
Then,
Well, we both...
a little patience, Watson. You will understand my point quite soon. So, are you quite certain that you saw the train at Evesham Station?
Yes, of course. We saw it coming. The headlights. And heard the whistle.
But that is it. We didn't see the train itself.
But... Oh, Holmes, I'm a little confused.
I should use the appropriate object here. So, now here we have the fake train that we saw approaching Evesham Station last night.
Doesn't look much like a train to me.
Be patient, Watson, I haven't finished yet. Try using your imagination. Our train requires only a headlight and a steam whistle. I need something long for the headlight to be attached. The long pole is now attached. It will allow us to connect the headlight. The headlight is attached. The steam whistle is now connected.
Holmes, what can we do to make the steam whistle work?
It is elementary, my dear Watson. We... The fire extinguisher. Now let us see what we have here. First of all, let us pump the pressure inside the extinguisher. First of all, let us pump the pressure inside the extinguisher. The steam whistle is ready to be used. Watson, I do believe that we have created an exact replica of the train that vanished in front of us last night. The criminal mind can be most inventive. I am somewhat in awe.
So such a thing is possible. If someone went to all the trouble of creating this fake train, then it was surely with the intention of stealing the real one.
Ah, Watson, you should not jump to conclusions. In fact, this does not tell us very much at all, except that the train did not evaporate into thin air.
Although you half suspected it.
At any rate, we now need to find where the real train might be hidden. I suggest we use my archives to find a more detailed map of our surroundings.
Well, I hope that justifies our having to load your massive archive suitcase onto the cab. It made us extremely unpopular with our driver. How could he fall asleep at work? Excuse me, sir. Wake up. Ah, his breath. He must have swallowed half a distillery.
And that explains the how.
By his sleeping off the alcohol, you mean? Wake up, please, sir.
Huh? What? The 18-hour 72 train has arrived?
Good day to you. We are investigating the disappearance of last night's train, and we should like to ask you a few questions. Were there any passengers who got off that particular train at your station last night?
No, nobody, it seems to me. Although I did not leave my office, so...
No doubt you were very busy.
You don't say. You can't ever get any peace around here. Now you have to send a telegram each time a train arrives and departs. Oop.
Station Master Bertram from Bridlington showed me a strange telegram that he received from you last night. It concerned the train, but it was barely comprehensible.
What? He's a fastidious little twerp, that Bertram. I remember everything quite clearly. It was late, and I was tired, but I did my work. So what? There's no need to be so petty.
You were not tired, you were inebriated. Tell me the truth now, or I shall not hesitate to document your state in my report.
My friend means that you will end up by being sacked from your position.
All right. So I was drunk. I don't remember all of yesterday, to be truthful to you. Please don't go harsh on me.
Holmes, this man has consumed a considerable amount of alcohol. He's not entirely helpless yet, but...
It will not be long before he is. Obviously, his testimony cannot be trusted.
I had thought that all station masters knew the Morse code, but apparently not.
A telegraph.
Ah, will I ever get any peace?
This bin is full of...
A fishing advertisement. Locked. There is no sense in asking the station master to open it. We shall have to pick the lock. These tools were used quite recently. They are still muddy. We should ask about them. Railway post bags. You have quite a number of dirty tools lying around here.
Ah, yes. Well, thank you for reminding me. I should clean them. Although, it might be easier to put them outside. Seems it might start raining soon.
I meant, what were they used for?
Some workers come here and borrowed them from me. They wanted to lift the edge of the railway to one of the stations on the line, so that the water wouldn't come in too close.
Who were these workers?
Well, they didn't seem to be from the company, but they was fine lads. They invited me to share a drink, and whatever it was, it had a kick to it. They wasn't English. No, I don't believe so. But see, they knew just what a man needed to brighten up his dull evening.
Don't touch anything, please.
I will not move from here until I receive...
Ah, will I ever get any peace?
The entire train has disappeared. It's a disaster.
Now we have two maps. We must combine them properly. Here it is. There is a side branch to the railway. Its first switch is located between Bridlington and Chesterfield stations. There is one more station to be visited. It is located between Chesterfield and Evesham, and there should be a side railway to the nearby quarry. There is a small section of a railway at the end of Evesham station.
Holmes, look. There's a flooded area over here.
I believe that the flooded area might be worth checking. This railway branch should lead to the quarry. The switch is rusted, but it still works. The rail is rusted and looks old, but the railway is still usable. The railway ends here. That is strange. The switch is rusted, but it still works.
A fake train. Ha! What a clever and devilish trick.
This suitcase contains my archives. We can consult with it if needed. It is fortunate that we took it with us.
The entire train has disappeared. It's a disaster.
A funny character. He looks anxious.
And he is not an Englishman. This scent is familiar to me, but in order to recognize it, I must combine my associations into one picture. A greenish-brown cigar with a strong aroma, a hint of peppermint. Ricardo.
You already know the name of this man? Holmes, you amaze me.
No, Watson, I refer to the cigar. It is a Ricardo Turrent, a Mexican cigar of an excellent quality. Quite an expensive one, too.
Newspaper articles on horse racing, hurdle, steeplechase and flat racing. He is a true enthusiast, Holmes.
Betting slips for horse racing. The sums are quite impressive.
It can be an expensive vice. This man had probably used all his savings.
A telegraph. Railway post bags. This post bag belongs to the station master. The station master appears to have found himself in some financial trouble. Watson, would you like some tea?
No,
Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. John Watson. We are investigating the case of the vanished train.
Is that so? Well, good day, gentlemen. I am Mr. Duff, the station master of this station. I'll be happy to help you in any way I can, but there's not much that I can tell you about last night.
It appears that you may be at risk of some flooding along the line here.
You mean that the whole bloody lake is at our feet?
Quite so. But it is strange, because according to my map, there should be a quarry here, and behind that, the lake.
How should I know? I only arrived here a few months ago.
And where did you work before that?
I was working in Nottingham, but I asked for a quieter place, so they transferred me here. Life is cheaper. I can't really complain.
Did any passengers leave or board the train last night?
No. I saw no one as usual. I reported the train's passage by telegraph, just the same as all the other nights.
I observe that you are a gambling man, Mr. Duff. You had hoped that your relocation to this small town might have helped ease your addiction, but it was not to be.
I beg your pardon? Addiction to what?
We found a number of horse racing tickets inside your office. Well, we all have our weaknesses. An expensive obsession, surely, for a station master.
It is none of your business. I occasionally attend the races with my colleagues. And anyway, that's my private life.
Goodbye, sir. It is obvious that we cannot inspect the quarry. Instead, we can check the beach area around the flooded lake. Here we are at the beach that is located near the quarry and Doncaster station. These traces were made by a carriage. Look. The distance between the tracks is about 6 feet 7 inches. The vehicle would have been heavy, as these tracks are quite deep. The vehicle would have been heavy, as these tracks are quite deep. The vehicle pressed this stone into the ground. It would have been quite heavy. These traces are relatively fresh and were made by a large truck loaded with materials. The traces found at the disassembled shed near Evesham and at the lake were from the same vehicle. This place was abandoned fairly recently. Observing the coastline and the moored boats, we are able to see that the lake's water level dropped. The lake has flooded the quarry. The dam was probably breached. A label with the name Las Zarpas.
A fake train. Ha! What a clever and devilish trick.
An abandoned gypsy caravan. My search should be focused upon the name Las Zarpas. Here it is.
I'm always wondering what's on your mind, Holmes.
The entire train has disappeared. It's a disaster.
Mines. This is interesting. It would be quite possible for someone to redirect the train towards the mines.
Here are the mines, Holmes. They appear to be abandoned.
The distance between the tracks is about 4 feet 8 inches. A lightly loaded vehicle came this way. There is a wooden beam lying on the rails. A small vehicle with wooden beams went down this way.
This mine has completely collapsed, Holmes.
It is curious, but to be truthful, I am not entirely surprised.
It's difficult to follow you, Holmes.
Someone removed these screws, most probably to take down the rails. A few feet of the rails have been dismantled. This box must be the safe. Let's open it. The Mexican company Caracal and the Chilean Barcazas both want to buy the mines. I need more information. Perhaps Mycroft could help. This is an unusual kind of paper, stiff and dry. It was used for a specific purpose. Let us look inside. Sawdust. I am almost certain it is a... Watson, could you assist, please? Do you have your pistol? Good. Fire at this package.
Dynamite.
This ashtray is full of ash and cigar stubs. Apparently, there was a conflict between the Mexicans and the Chileans. This ashtray is full of ash and cigar stubs. A greenish-brown cigar with a strong aroma, a hint of peppermint. These ashes and cigar stubs are similar to the one that we found on the floor. Some of the stubs were recently smoked. There are others that appear fairly old. Well concluded, my dear fellow. A man who smoked the Ricardo brand of Mexican cigar spent several long days at Doncaster Station. I asked Mycroft to find out some information on the WEA Coal Company. Here is his reply, and it is an interesting one. An advertisement for lake cruises. There was a gentleman of Mexican origin, I believe, in the waiting room. Did you notice him?
What? A Mexican? Here in the back of beyond? Are you quite sure about that?
Goodbye, sir. Watson, it seems that both South American companies were involved in the purchase of the mine.
The man at Doncaster who flared our approach, he smokes Mexican cigars. Perhaps...
Yes, Watson. We should certainly speak with him. Please, sir, we would ask you not to leave. We have some questions.
Are you the police?
No, we are employed by the railway company. We are collecting witness statements about the train that disappeared last night.
Lo siento, I'm in a hurry.
Really? It seemed that you were waiting here for someone. Could you tell us if you were at the station last night?
No, I just arrived from South America.
A formidable journey, no doubt. Which country are you from?
De Chile.
Chile? But you are Mexican.
No, you are wrong. Why would you think I'm Mexican?
Because of your cigars.
Sí, cigarrillos. So what?
Those cigars are the Ricardo brand, from Mexico. It is quite impossible to find them anywhere but there.
Pero not your business.
I don't suppose that you are on vacation. What business brought you here?
I was to meet my fellow compañeros. Where did you arrive yesterday? They were on that damn train. I will stay here and hope that the authorities find them, or their bodies. It's now my responsibility to repatriate them.
Who authorized you to do that?
The company I work for.
Could you tell me the name of the company?
It's not your concern.
And what is your name?
Enough questions. Buenas tardes.
Not a very friendly man, and he is lying. He said that he just arrived, but we know that he has been here for several days. Then the case is solved, Holmes. What do you intend to do?
Well, I shall require assistance for the arrests. There were accomplices.
Ah, but I know that look. You have your own ideas. What are they, Holmes?
On the one hand, we have Mycroft and his tedious political games. He will locate the guilty parties without any trouble. But it will be a long and drawn-out process, and possibly with some compromise that will be to Mycroft's benefit. Our other option is the local constabulary, and advice from our friend Lestrade. The problem we have there is that the authorities seem to be incapable of acting quietly. They rely on brute force. It could result in an international scandal. All the same, I think that I prefer the forces methods. It would be better to resolve the case quickly and efficiently, without any talk of politics.
Let us go home, then. I'd like to begin writing a draft of this story.
No, I did not say that we had finished here yet.
Well, all right. What did I miss?
Watson, we know that the Barkazas Company directors were drowned in the flooded quarry, along with the train and Robinson's prototype. But we still need to corner the guilty party.
But how do you intend to prove... Oh, no. Please don't tell me we have to dive into the lake.
Huh. You may rest assured that I have a far better idea. We have only to use our corrupt Doncaster station master as bait. He will unwittingly trap our Mexican friend.
Of course, you already had a plan. I shall follow you, Holmes.
Well, the case is solved, and we shall be heading home. May we have 2 tickets to London, please?
Right away, but... Wait a minute. You've solved the case?
In a manner of speaking, can you believe that the rescue service miraculously saved one of the Chileans who were on board the train? The police have ordered his immediate escort to London on the next train.
He pulled through, then? He's alive?
Yes, by extreme good fortune. His condition is quite serious, and the method of transportation has its risk, but he will be held securely by the doctor and police officers. The gentleman carries some vital information on this case. I am sure of it.
Ah, really?
Your station will be famous, Mr. Duff. The journalists will be here before you know it. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, you are under arrest.
Caramba! You traitor! You double-crossed me!
Good shot, Watson. I always knew you were a talented marksman.
I didn't want another life lost in this case, Holmes.
Oh my God! I thought I was a dead man.
You shouldn't be so glad about it. You'll be up before the judge.
Your testimony will be of great importance to the investigation. I would remind you that your cooperation will be the best way to ease your sentence. By the way, Watson, would you be so kind as to give me some shooting lessons later on?
Yes, but not in our sitting room, and not with you wearing a blindfold. Holmes, what happened?
I feel deathly.
And you look it. Let me examine you. Please don't tell me that you've returned to your old habits. The pupil is dilated. The temperature appears to be normal. I need to concentrate and count the heartbeats. I need to concentrate and count the heartbeats. A weak pulse, around 50 beats per minute. But you're dying, Holmes. Your pulse rate is dropping. We need to get you to the hospital immediately.
The antidote. Give it to me.
The antidote? You mean that you're poisoned?
Now. Please.
Here, drink it all. Don't tell me that you did this to yourself.
Hemlock and datura. I was compelled to.
Holmes, imagine if I'd not returned home when I did. What might have happened?
I knew that you would.
Mr. Holmes, Inspector Lestrade is here to see you.
Mr. Holmes is unable to see anyone at the moment. He is unwell.
A good day, Inspector.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, I'm glad to find you here. I need your help. This is a strange one. We have brought in 2 young bankers from the city, sons of lords, members of the chamber, and so on and so forth. They were found stranded in a rowing boat that was drifting on the Thames.
A romantic escapade with an unhappy ending, Lestrade.
What? Well, yes, they were both in the bath, but, what?
As I said,
And they were tied together.
you are lacking in imagination, Inspector.
Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, there was a banner flapping about in the boat with the RMS Oceanic printed on it and signed by the Merry Men.
The Oceanic. Isn't that the largest steamer ever built?
Yes. And these 2 young banker chaps are sons of the owners of the White Star Line, the company that built it. There are rumours of corruption.
I'm not interested in politics, Lestrade.
I'll keep it then. Here's another one that's a bit more complex and maybe to your liking. It's a murder, but we're unable to find any weapon. We haven't touched anything. It's at the Roman Baths in Strand Lane.
A murder, a vanishing weapon, the Roman Baths. That's for us. Watson, fetch your hat.
Beautiful place.
With a dreadful murder. The body of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe is still in the steam room. It has not been touched, per your usual instructions, Mr. Holmes. I shall be waiting for you here, but please hurry.
Are you able to identify the men who were with the victim in the steam room?
Yes. The manager of the bath, Sir Gregory Pitkin, a lad from the City Council, Garrow, and an archaeologist by the name of Blinkhorn. I think the plump one, Garrow, did it. He doesn't seem right in the head.
Well, we shall see. You found no murder weapon?
No, and that's why I called you. All three witnesses and the victim were locked in when the murder occurred, and they remained so until we got here. We even had to pick the lock to enter.
I see. Was there anyone else here, apart from those gentlemen in the steam room?
Yes, a Mr. Phillips. He was the one who called the police. He will be able to give you more details.
Good day to you, Mr. Phillips. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. Watson. Would you be so kind as to answer our questions?
Certainly, sir.
Please tell us the chain of events from the start of your day. Everything that you can remember. The slightest detail may be of importance.
Very well, sir. I came in at 6:30 this morning, and I opened the baths. I made sure that the room was clean, and I prepared the towels. The brazier was still burning.
There was a fire burning all night.
Yes, Sir Gregory ordered me to light the brazier yesterday. It takes some time until the room is fully heated. The gentleman had a meeting at 9 o'clock this morning. I wanted everything to be perfect. They'd been in the steam room for 20 minutes when I suddenly heard shouting. I ran to the door, but it was closed. I couldn't open it. So I ran out to the street to call for the police. One constable came up, and then there were others, and they picked the lock. Then Inspector Lestrade came along, and he told us that nothing should be touched.
Did you receive any other visitors this morning?
No one. Until these gentlemen arrived. Sir Gregory was the first. And then, while we were discussing work details, Sir Rodney and Mr. Blinkhorn arrived, and Mr. Garrow followed.
What happened after that?
I waited until they'd all entered the steam room, then I returned to the hall. The changing room door was open, so I should hear if they needed anything.
You would have heard if someone had entered or left the steam room.
Certainly, sir. These doors make a lot of noise.
What should we do next, Holmes?
The steam room's on the other side, Mr. Holmes.
Expensive clothes, belonging to one of the men from the steam room. Champagne for a special occasion. Unopened, it was intended to be enjoyed after the steam session. An ice bucket to keep the champagne chilled. These clothes belong to one of the suspects from the steam room. Clothes belonging to one of the suspects. Death with a peculiarly Roman piquancy.
Like the one you almost had an hour ago.
Let us forget about that.
There was only one hit from the weapon. It pierced the right eye straight through to the brain. Death would have been instantaneous.
The wound should not have bled so profusely. This pool is rather large. Look, Watson. He was wearing a ring. He very likely removed it before the steam session.
Well, death is very recent, between 30 minutes to 1 hour ago.
Some dirt or earth. I'll take a sample. I think we have found all that we can here, taking into consideration the abysmal lighting. Constable, we have finished with the body.
We don't have many leads here.
What concerns me is that we still have to find the murder weapon.
Mr. Holmes?
Please have the body removed without disturbing anything else in the room.
All right, Mr. Holmes.
I was wondering, Holmes, it's fairly reckless to carry out a murder inside a closed chamber. Why do you suppose they did it?
There are a great many possibilities. The murderer was in a hurry. Or he is an artist. Or a ghost. Or he wanted to ensure that I'd be brought in on the case.
Probably the latter. You are ridiculous. Do you know that? I'm always wondering what's on your mind, Holmes.
I should check this blood sample at Baker Street. This key was covered in blood. I should ask Phillips about it. With the steam on, I'm unable to see even a few feet away. G. Newell and Sons, steam specialists, Seattle, WA. The brazier is still burning. The heat here is extreme. I will need something to pick up this melted metal. I will need something to pick up this melted metal. It is too hot. I cannot reach into it.
It's horrible. So Rodney is dead. Can't we speak about it somewhere else?
I'm in shock. I don't want to talk.
It's horrible. I can't talk at the moment.
Mr. Holmes? Any progress, Mr. Holmes?
How many people have keys to the steam room?
We have just the one key for now, which Sir Gregory gave to me.
So, this morning you opened the steam room, and then?
I put the key inside my desk, but when they called, I couldn't find it. It had disappeared. I don't know where it is.
Did you leave the baths at any time, or receive any visitors?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you leave the baths at...
No, sir, I did not.
Did you leave the...
No, sir, I did not.
You are not telling the truth, Mr. Phillips. You left your work this morning, and you went to the post office, where you dispatched a telegram at around 7:30.
But how could you... No,
The telegram was for someone in Manchester.
Mr. Holmes, it's I'll tell you everything. I left the baths at 7:20. My sister wrote to me yesterday, and she needed a reply, or our mother is unwell. I was away for 20 minutes, and I closed the baths on my way out.
Did you receive a reply from your sister?
No, she wasn't meant to. I just told her to pawn my old school uniform so that she could pay for the medication.
Did you check to see if the key was still in your desk when you returned?
No, I didn't. Please, Mr. Holmes, don't tell the police about this. Sir Gregory would give me the sack. I need this job.
I see. There is a bottle of champagne on ice in the changing room. Do you have any idea who left it there?
There is? Are you quite certain? I didn't pay any attention. Do you believe that it's important?
This area serves as Sir Rodney Bentcliffe's workshop. This area serves as Sir Rodney Bentcliffe's workshop. shape has been cut in the plate. What should be done with it? Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. Tools used by archaeologists in their research. I will need these tongs. Archaeological findings. Old clay pots with numbers inscribed upon them. A glass plate negative is missing. It is a glass plate negative of an Egyptian statue. Glass plate negatives, a remarkable method for recording ancient civilizations.
My God, are you all right? I wonder how this could have happened.
Yes, it is somewhat treacherous. Fortunately, I am unscathed. To where does this corridor lead?
To the frigidarium, the coal room.
Barely unscathed and by a very small margin. And treacherous is an understatement. Those stones weigh tons. We won't move them.
It does not matter. If our investigation requires it, we shall ask for them to be removed.
We don't have many leads here.
I should analyze this melted metal.
These baths are becoming sinister.
This is a piece of metal taken from a brazier. It appears to be silver, but I need to be sure. If it is silver, it will be possible to melt it, since silver's melting point is at around 900 degrees Celsius. Let us compare this sample with a silver penny by testing it with acid. If it changes color to match the result of a reaction with a silver coin, then it is silver. I must take a pipette and place several drops of acid upon the samples. The reaction is the same red stain. It is silver, Britannia silver quality. Selenite, pyrite, otherwise known as fool's gold. White clay particles. Interesting. According to the color and its composition, I deduce that this sample is white clay. Now, I need to find which area near London this sample belongs to. The sample of dirt belongs to the White London clay region, located near the city of St. Albans. Let us analyze this blood sample. This blood has not coagulated well. It seems very liquid. That is strange. Let us see what is inside it. Hydrogen peroxide will bring any foreign matter to the surface. Water. This blood is heavily diluted with water. My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Have you found something interesting?
Any progress, Mr. Holmes?
All these events are bad for the baths. And my job.
I can't understand what happened.
If you have to interrogate me, I'd like to be dressed properly first.
I found him. I touched his shoulder, thinking that he was just asleep.
One lens is cracked, probably due to the temperature of the brazier. These lenses are for myopia. The wearer is short-sighted.
I feel... I'm in shock. I don't...
Or do we have to stay here? Can't we go?
Mr. Holmes?
Mr. Holmes, I should like to take the suspects to the yard. You can interrogate them there. Any objections?
None, Lestrade. An embroidered silk handkerchief. A fountain pen with solid gold trim. Sir Gregory Pitkin's visiting card. When Garrow found Sir Rodney dead, he wiped the blood upon himself. A phial with herbs. Do you know what it is, my dear fellow?
It's the St. John's wort flower, Holmes. It's commonly used as a drug against melancholia. However, an overdosage might lead to a rash or even hallucinations.
An ordinary pencil. This ring was most likely the one that Sir Rodney wore. He removed it before entering the steam room. An Egyptian symbol. It is a very old jewel. I see the join. This ring was repaired, and quite badly too, with silver.
Why on earth would they wear such a ring?
A very pertinent question. Rodney Bentcliffe's notebook. It may contain something of interest. The last pages were torn out. We must find a way of retrieving Sir Rodney's last lines. Watson, please prevent anyone from entering the room. But first, fetch me a pencil. To begin with, a few strokes of the pencil will be enough. and then to gently smudge the...
Mr. Holmes, the coroner... But what are you doing? Tampering with the evidence?
I prefer to make them talk. Today, I almost found it. This date will go down in history. Sir Rodney was about to make an outstanding discovery.
Wonderful.
I could retrieve only the final words. The rest of it is lost. Perhaps the autopsy will assist us in that matter.
I'm not sure that I can allow you to inspect the body now.
I am sure that you must, Constable.
Well...
A hand-drawn map. An old and rather dirty coin. Locked.
An unusual wound, inflicted by a curved knife, which resulted in instant death, as the coroner's report says. According to the coroner, there were no cardiac problems nor lung congestion, but there were traces of fungus, possibly contracted from the Egyptian tombs. The coroner observed no stomach nor liver disease, if we're to accept that Sir Rodney was an occasional drinker and 63 years of age.
Some light bruising caused by a rope. The bruising is in lines. They were caused by a rope around the waist. Sir Rodney was descending somewhere. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. A good day to you. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting the police with their investigation of the murder of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
I am Tristram Garrow.
What is your occupation?
I am a councillor at the district chamber.
And what were you doing at the baths?
Well, I follow the researchers. I am